Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Hit Pause MCU. I am Till from Spawn Trap. I am joined by, which way am I pointing? Jordan right here.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Always lovely. and it's been a while since we recorded the last podcast, which happened after the first two episodes of What If. And there's been 4 episodes since, and a lot of trailers. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and a lot of stuff to go over. First of all, just because we didn't have you in the last episode, I just want to go over your brief thoughts and just a reminder: the first 2 episodes of What If. First one was about Captain Carter, and the second one was I don't even remember now. What was the second one?
The second one is where Star-Lord is Black Panther,
Yes.
or Black Panther is Star-Lord.
What did you think of those episodes? And did you have any?
What I really liked about Captain Carter is they create because they have the Hydra. What's the Tesseract? They're able to make the Hydra Buster. So I feel like they got. I don't know. I feel like the war was a lot easier because they had both a super soldier and
Yeah.
Hydra Buster. I don't know, kind of like a Iron Man beta suit.
Yeah.
At the same time, which didn't happen in World War II. So they were able to just like crush out the army really quick.
Yeah,
And what I
go on.
sorry, and then what I thought was really funny about the Star Lord one was I think most of it was just them like praising um, Chadwick Boseman and then just kind of shitting on Chris Pratt a little.
Yeah.
in a playful way, but it was just that's what I thought most of that episode was, and I enjoyed that one too.
I think that just goes in line with their characters, right? Like just
Yeah,
Peter Quill is such like a different person to T'Challa. So it's like
they were
yeah.
like where he's kind of an a hole, and then Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther is basically just like he's more level headed,
Yeah.
and he yeah.
So he's like
Was,
he's a better Star Lord, like or he's
yeah.
a better at the job of Star Lord than than Peter Quill is.
Yeah, I definitely think most of it was just them just ripping on Chris Pratt a little bit, but it was just a really funny episode.
uh, I feel the same way about the Hydra Buster. Because I don't think I watched the last episode or last podcast, but my thing was they developed that technology earlier because they had the Tesseract. Like they were able to experiment on it. So I feel like they were able to make, like war would have been different, and like stuff that happened in the world would have been different because of Howard Stark's work on the Hydra Buster. But,
Yeah, they basically just used the Tesseract to like have technology way sooner along with Howard Stark so he could just create all of his own things. So I wonder if Iron Man's suit would ever even like the Iron Man suit probably would never have even come to be. And then I wonder if he would have ever created like a new element because Howard Stark would have just I don't know he had a essentially one of the 6 Infinity Stones in his hand, so he had way
mm-hmm.
more power than the element that Tony Stark created later.
That's exactly how I feel. Like I don't think any of that stuff would have happened. I did go over that in the episode, so I think we are both on the same page there. Um, but before we go into the next few episodes, talking about what if for episodes 4 and 5, or no, sorry, 3 and 4. A few things have happened since then. Uh, one of them being, or a few, most of them being trailers. So we are going to just quickly go over some trailers that have happened. I don't even know if you've seen all these trailers. Have you watched the trailer for Eternals?
I've watched it many times. I love this
Yeah.
trailer.
It's do you have any thoughts on it? Like, do you know anything about the Eternals?
I don't really know anything about them. I know I'm assuming. So I know nothing about them. So I'll probably get some stuff wrong. But apparently they came to Earth and they fell in love with our planet. because they fell in love with humans, I guess. So I guess that's
Yeah.
why some of them stayed. I don't know if they're all on Earth or if they all are. I don't know that. But it looks like they fell in love with us. So I'm wondering, do they look human or did they take our form because they are here to
So
like
that
blend in?
that I'm not too sure. I mean, there are a lot of humanoid and human-looking species in the Marvel universe. So
Hmm.
I don't know if they took a form or if that's how they look.
Yeah.
But the Eternals are characters that I'm not that familiar with. Just like when Guardians of the Galaxy first came out, and when I saw the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy the first time, I said, "This looks crazy. I need to read the comics." And I did fall in love with the comics after I saw that. This, I'm taking an opposite approach. I'm kind of staying away from the source material and just seeing, like, just want to be surprised. I'm just gonna have like that opposite sort of viewpoint. But I've only seen them briefly in some comics that I've read, and it's never meant like left like a lasting impression on me. There was one comic where I don't know if the Eternals are still around in the comic book world. I'm way behind on comics, to be honest, Marvel specifically, but I remember there's like one major thing, and they all died. And I don't know if they're all still dead because it's comics, so like nobody ever stays dead. But that's all I really know about them. So I don't know if this is gonna be like a like a Star Wars what's that Star Wars movie?
Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One. I don't know if this is gonna be like a Rogue One situation. I highly doubt it. But I don't know. It looks cool. Like I know close to nothing about the Eternals, so this looks
Yeah.
great.
I was wondering like because they even mentioned in the trailer they're like why during all the things throughout the world why haven't you
Mhm.
helped out especially during Thanos and they said that they weren't supposed to they were told not to. What are those things called? Are those Celestials?
Yeah,
That,
the big guys. I'll see if I can
yeah,
forward it here. Yeah, these big guys are Celestials, and we have seen a few of them in the MCU already.
that's
There's
Ego, right?
Ego is a Celestial. I don't know if he's a Celestial in the comics. I think they've retroactively made him a Celestial. He
Yeah,
was also not Peter Quill's father in the comics.
right. It
uh,
wasn't just it was some sort of like alien just race guy, right?
Yeah,
Like
he's like a
alien
king
lord.
of. I actually liked his character in the comics, so I was kind of upset that they weren't gonna put that in movies because I was really excited to see that character. But
Yeah.
yeah, Ego is a Celestial. There's Nowhere, which is a severed head of a Celestial, which was
Right.
showed in Guardians of the Galaxy. Also in Guardians of the Galaxy, the Collector was showing like the history of the forging of the Infinity Stones, and they showed Celestials using them.
Right.
Um, and there's also, I think in Thor Ragnarok, there's like some robots or like some like people in costumes that kind of like resemble Celestials.
Mm.
But they all have like crazy designs like this, and I think there's another one shown in this trailer too. If I can find it,
So
where it looks
I'm
like,
assuming the Celestials are pretty much in charge of the Eternals. Then they kind of either
yeah,
they're like their leader, or they're in charge of them, or they're I don't know they're
I
using them as weapons or something. So I guess we'll figure that out. But what I what I like was at least they referenced like the whole Thanos thing too, and
mm-hmm,
they're like, well, why are these things only just like coming up now? And I guess it's
yeah,
because the Infinity Stones were snapped 3 times on Earth so that would like it like release like a like substantial amount of energy or power on the planet,
yeah.
which is now releasing it.
Yeah, there's some event that's happening that's going to destroy the planet. It sounds like.
Mm.
And from what I gathered from the trailer, it seems like yeah they were sent to Earth by the Celestials, and so they were either created or they're under the orders of Celestials. So which I find is interesting. It seems like they sort of play a similar role to the Watcher, but on like Earth specifically.
Right. Well, I guess
Yeah.
yeah, I think they said because they didn't want to leave Earth because they fell in love with the people there. So maybe
Yeah.
they are allowed to leave, but they just didn't want to because they like humanity. And that's
Mm,
why I was wondering if maybe even all of them are even have even left. Like maybe some aren't on Earth and they have to, I don't know,
mm,
recruit some to come back.
yeah.
So I don't know if we, I don't know. I'm just leaving it
I
open
don't know.
to.
There's like this. There's this shot where a bunch of them are sitting around, and
That doesn't look like
one
an
of the
Earth place.
characters.
That's why I'm wondering if
No, but
some of
like one
them.
of the characters is in the circle. Like you can see that little thing. But I don't know. Is this? I think that might be Sprite in the back there, which is the little kid. I think these are all the characters here. But yeah, maybe there's some extra characters because this seems like a lot of people. So maybe some
Yeah.
people left. Yeah. But yeah, it looks cool. I'm looking forward to that. That's
So what
what
is? Do you know what that thing is that's floating there in space? That's
I
just what I don't know.
I think that's their spaceship.
Okay.
That's what it seems like. Yeah,
Looks like
because
a Kit
that's
Kat bar.
yeah. But there's a shot where yeah, this I think this shot. No.
Those things are deviants, right? The
Yeah,
enemy or
deviants, yeah.
deviant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that Thanos has some sort of relationship to deviants. I think he's like half a deviant or something.
I think I read that too, or
Yeah.
you either you told me that or I read that on. No, my friend at work told me that actually that
Yeah.
they are. He's like half. I think he's the child of a deviant and
Yeah.
a eternal. That's what
There's
I heard.
also like the genealogy and everything can also trace back to mutants and everything. So
Yeah.
a lot of people are theorizing like this is going to be Marvel's introduction to you know putting in seeds for mutants.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case. I feel like they're going to just make this its own standalone movie and then mutants will show up in another way.
Right.
But yeah, this seems like a spaceship.
I don't know if we'll see these. I was wondering that same thing. These guys seem a little too powerful, so I don't know if we'll see them again, or if we do, maybe
Yeah.
they'll just be like their own like second movie, and they might be like referenced in other movies, but like look at that guy, he just disintegrated something with like I don't even know
Oh,
if he touched the
the
point of that, but
Gemma Chan's character did that. Right
yeah, is
here.
he an
Yeah.
Eternal or is he something? No, he's not an Eternal because he.
It's her. So uh I think her name's Cersei.
Okay.
So she can like
Yeah, she
just
just
like
disintegrated that
disintegrate
thing.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
But
was well, that seems pretty powerful.
Kit Harington here. I'm trying to pause it on him. Also, there's some interesting stuff about this shot. So his character, I think, is called Black Knight, and I think he's gonna be sticking around the MCU at least. I
Yeah.
think they're gonna like focus this movie a lot on him. But if you look in the background here, you see Sprite, which is the kid, in multiple spots. Also, Gemma Chan's character, I forget her name. I think it's Cersei. You see her all over the background. So there's like projections or like duplications going on in the background, which is
Yeah.
interesting. I hope I'm saying her name right. I'm not too sure. She played one of the characters in Captain Marvel, actually, one of the Kree, and they
Mm.
recasted her for this movie, which I find a lot of that stuff's going on now. And I bring this up a lot, like, is if Marvel TV is still part of the MCU, or if that's no longer the case since the switch over to like Disney Plus and all that stuff. And some people make the argument, oh, Mahershala Ali, um, Mahershala Ali is playing Blade, but yeah, I'll play the music. I'm trying not to get copyright strikes. I got your message. Yeah, he's playing.
That ending there is so funny when he's
Yeah,
like, what also I like about that scene is like we know that vibranium is very powerful, and we know it's not from Earth that came on a meteor or whatever.
mm-hmm.
But the Eternals have lived longer than like all of us or whatever. They've been here. I think they say like 7,000 years or whatever. So it's really cool that they mentioned they're like, man, I bet you built like a sweet safe house here. It must be all vibranium, and then he just like breaks it, and so it's like cool to see some of them just like they're like, no, that's from IKEA, and they just
Yeah.
they're like I don't know, they just like small like human built stuff, but
Yeah.
it's also cool to show like how strong vibranium is if Eternals are like, oh, I bet this is all vibranium, eh? Like
Yeah.
some of the top tier stuff or whatever, but it's not.
Also, vibranium came from space. Also.
That's what I'm saying. It came
Yeah.
on the meteor, right? I know
Yeah.
it's Earth's strongest metal, but only because it came from space.
That's
So
true.
which is
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just nice to know, like, Eternals. Even the Eternals know it's like one of the most powerful things, though, too.
Yeah.
Or it's like it must be pretty strong.
But yeah, what I was saying was that Mahershala Ali's playing Blade, and he played Cottonmouth in Luke Cage. But I think this is a perfect example of why that doesn't matter to Marvel, because they just recasted this actor here, and they also did that with someone from Shang-Chi, I think, too. So yeah, I don't think that really matters. But just the fact that they've just put like subtle hints in the Phase 4 stuff so far, that all that stuff, it doesn't matter anymore. I think that's more evident that those shows don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Let's go through some other trailers here before we start diving into What If. First of all, I don't know. Have you seen Shang-Chi?
I
Or are you
haven't
waiting?
seen. Is it Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi? I thought it was
It's
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. I said it wrong earlier. Yeah, it's Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. Oh.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi, I have not seen it yet. I want to go see it, but I don't know. I don't know if they were still doing the posters on opening weekend, so I didn't go.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
the
didn't
one
go.
thing. I'm like, that's one thing I'm gonna miss. But
I'm gonna miss the posters.
that movie's already been spoiled for me. And that was the one thing I'm worried about. I was like, I need to see this in theaters because it's not gonna be on Disney Plus, and they're not gonna spoil for me. And sure enough, the day of the premiere, like I was getting sent spoilers, or I was seeing spoilers on my timeline. I'm like, can you not wait 45 days? Because
Yeah.
that's what's gonna take for me to see it. But yeah, so we haven't seen it yet. I don't think Matt's seeing it either. Just because I think COVID's still pretty bad where he is.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna stay away from it. Actually, he messaged me. I don't know if he did see it or not.
Are you playing the
Oh,
Shang-Chi trailer, or are you
Yeah,
avoiding? Are you not?
I will
Yeah.
play the trailer. Yes. But yeah, he did message me. He did see it, and he said it was amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Mike and Haley seen it as well, and they said it was great. A guy at my work saw it. He thought it was really good. The rings just look cool. Like, I want like 5 rings on each of my arm just to play with, because those look fucking sweet. Like, this is the I don't know. The weapon itself looks very interesting, and I want to know if it's like if it was like built, or if it's like a really like a powerful relic or something that was like we found on, I don't know, that was here before humans. Like, I don't know what it like. It looks like it's something that was forged that we built, but it just looks also way too powerful as well. So I don't know what kind of power it has, but it looks really cool.
yeah, I don't know the origin of the creation of them, and I think even if I did from the comics, I think they're changing up the story to be its own thing for these movies.
Yeah.
I just know that there's a whole organization around these objects because we've seen them through the Iron Man movies. So it's cool that that's all coming full circle. No pun intended. With this movie here. But yeah, every trailer I see for this movie just gets me more hype. So I can't wait to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the spoilers I've seen, they're also ridiculous and crazy, and there's so many different ones that I'm like, okay, they all can't be real, so I'm just assuming that they're all fake. Just
What's the technology from Iron Man that you saw in here?
no, the Ten Rings organization.
Oh, okay.
They're at the
Okay.
beginning of Iron Man, like the first
Okay.
movie.
Yeah.
The terrorist
Yes.
organization
See,
was
that right there just looks super cool. And I think, is it at the end of this trailer that I saw that was like,
this
yeah, this
the
thing right here.
abomination.
I thought that was Abomination, but
Yeah.
I asked the guy at my work because I would just really want to know, and he told me that they never say its name. He said, like,
Well,
I think
here's the thing.
I
Kevin Feige did, so he confirmed that it was abomination.
oh, it is Abomination. So
Yeah.
maybe they just changed him up to make him, because of CGI has come a long way since
Yeah.
the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, and like people were saying, like, oh, he's got the fins on his ears now. It's like because that's how the character has always looked.
Yeah.
So like, how are they going to explain him getting? I'm like, they recasted the Hulk. I'm pretty sure it's fine. Nobody's going to care about the fins on his ears.
I mean, yeah, like Thanos was blue until we
Yeah.
finally seen him, and then he was purple. So I mean,
Yeah.
like they just CGI gets better, people. So I thought it was Abomination when I first saw it, and then my guy at work was like,
Yeah.
"Nah, it looks a lot like him, but it's not him." So if
Yeah.
they confirm that it's him, I'll tell my buddy at work then that it was because
Yeah,
yeah,
it's definitely him.
it looks like him, just a little different, but we only see him for like 30 seconds there. So I'm just like, it just looks like a better CGI version of
Yeah.
Abomination. So that's cool. I like when they bring stuff back or tie it in somehow. That's awesome.
The other thing that we got was a trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm gonna let you talk over it while I turn my AC off so that it's not bothering my mic.
Is is one last thing? Is Wong in Shang-Chi or no?
Yes.
Oh, he is. Okay, very cool. I'm really excited for the Spider-Man. I think it's the my most anticipated movie this year because I don't know. I've always wanted to see now that everybody knows who's Peter Parker's Spider-Man. I just really want to see how they're going to get out of it. And the only thing that I knew about that was that he went to um, what's his name? That he went to Doctor Strange. So I'm really excited that they're doing this. That he goes to Doctor Strange to try to have everybody forget about it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had told Jess about that in the comic books. I'm like, oh, there was I know how everybody knows who the Avengers are, everybody knows their secret identities, but Peter's was always a secret.
Yeah.
So that as soon as at the end of the last one, Far From Home, I was really excited that they, that he said his name out and everybody. I'm like, oh man, he's got to go to Doctor Strange, and I'm just glad they still went that way with the movies because they could have changed it to be, I don't know, something else. So it's just nice to see that it's going to be like this.
Yeah. And I am familiar with these comics and the controversies around them. This is definitely taking after the one of the most controversial Spider-Man stories people hate, which is
Really?
yeah, it's called One More Day or Brand New Day, which is after Civil War, like the Civil War in the comics. Spider-Man revealed his identity there. Some events happen where Aunt May gets shot and he's trying to save her life and realize that his revealing of his identity led to those events. So he's trying to, get everybody to forget that he's Spider-Man. He goes to Doctor Strange initially, turns him down, and he goes to everybody else, and nobody's offering him help. And eventually, Marvel's devil, Mephisto, appears, and he's like, I will erase everybody's identity. I just want one thing from you. At the time, he was married to Mary Jane. Yeah. He's like, I want to make it so your marriage never existed. And so they basically
like, sweet, what sounds like a win.
they retconned like years of comics and history for the character and started him kind of like fresh after that. And people hated that. They thought it was like a slap in the face. And I think at the time, they were pregnant, so we were gonna see like Spider-Girl start to appear in the comics. But so that all got erased. It didn't lead. What this movie is actually taking inspiration from is a follow-up story to that called One Moment in Time, which kind of explained in this new timeline where nobody knows his identity what actually happened. So the events of Civil War still happened where he revealed his identity, but he wasn't married to Mary Jane. That marriage never happened. So in the event where Aunt May still needs help, he goes to Doctor Strange, but this time Doctor Strange helps him. So this is where the movie's taking place from, is the Doctor Strange story. And I feel like how they handled that, the one moment in time, I thought was pretty cool. I like whenever it gets brought up in the comics, like trying to explain it, but it's very rarely. Like Marvel's like very weary to bring this set of stories back up because of how much people hated it.
This I don't understand. Why is there snow everywhere in Doctor Strange's thing?
Magic.
I'm just wondering where all there's London, New York, and Hong Kong, right?
Yeah,
That's where all is.
and
So
those sanctums were destroyed, by the way.
uh,
Like unless they got rebuilt again
when were they destroyed in the MCU?
in Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Caecilius, and his mindless ones or whatever they're called, came and destroyed those things, and then they were after the sanctum in New York.
Yeah, but he like reverses time and everything. Can't.
Oh yeah, the one in Hong Kong, I guess, was like reversed in time. Yeah,
Well,
but the London sanctum's down.
The New York one has to be fine though, right? Because
Yeah.
the New York one is where Hulk gets just like beamed through, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the one
so
that they're in. Is the
wonder why it's all snow though. I'm just like, and then there's like all kinds of theories people are telling me too. They're like, well, with the multiverse, so that's what I'm. Another thing I'm confused. Like, he's is Doctor Strange the one responsible for the multiverse, or would that be just, I don't want to really spoil it, but would that go with more of like the Loki ending?
Look, you can shift blame any way you want, but time is kind of fluid, and Marvel's explanation of time is also kind of confusing because it's a straight line, but it's not. It's a circle, and also there's strands, but it's unweaving, but it's also being weaved at the same time, and it's just every time they explain, I'm like, well, you have different concepts of time. I guess they kind of all make sense based on how you're telling the story, but they're also kind of conflicting the way you're explaining it. So it's like I'm very confused by how they're saying time works in the MCU, especially with Loki. The TVA exists outside of time, but also has its own time that it clearly operates under. But then also by the end of the season, the time has changed. Like the timelines change and characters forget certain things. So it's like, so does it exist outside of time, or like what happened? How does this works?
That's why like I was just there's like a lot of this trailer I like, but I'm like, why is his sanctum covered in snow? Like, are we in a different timeline where it, like, I don't know if that was a different timeline, if that was a different Doctor Strange. I assumed it was the Doctor Strange that we know because he references saving half the universe with Peter, but. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. He's like, why is he winking and shit? You're like, oh no, don't worry, I won't do that. And then he's like, no, don't worry, I'll make sure nobody knows who you are. I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
like,
a lot of people are
like Doctor Strange.
A lot of people are agreeing with you, where they think it's not the same Doctor Strange. It's someone else masquerading as Doctor Strange. I don't think so. I think that's Doctor Strange. I think he's always been an arrogant prick, and then that's the way he acts.
Yeah,
that's the way his character is established.
Yeah, I don't understand the snow. That's gonna bother me until I see the movie.
It's gonna be like a one-off like joke explanation. I already know. Yeah. or this is an alternate. This is an alternate scene made just for the trailer, and there's not gonna be snow in the movie, and people are just gonna be confused.
The only funny joke I saw that was somebody said that while Doctor Strange was dead for 5 years, he left his AC on, and that's why his house is covered in snow. It's too cold in there or something. I don't know. It was like, I was like, ah.
Yeah. That's funny. By the way, this character here, people think it's Charlie Cox's Daredevil from the Netflix show. Yeah, it's not. There's an IMAX version of this trailer where this guy's face is clearly shown, and it's not. So
yeah, they think it's Matthew Murdock, right?
Yeah, let's move on from that.
Yeah, someone was like, I recognize those Matthew Murdock, or what's the actor's name?
Charlie Cox.
Yeah, they're like, I recognize those hairy arms of Charlie Cox anywhere, and I was like, wow, you really analyzed how hairy his arms were to match it to that guy's arms, eh?
He was asked about that in an interview on some late night show. I can't remember what it was. And he's like, I can confirm those are not my arms.
That's funny. Oh, man, that's disappointing because I didn't really look too much into that. And I was just like, I don't know, smarter people than me on the MCU. I was like, cool, those are his arms. Good to see that he's going to be in it. And I just didn't even think twice about it. I was like, that'd be cool if he's in it. But until I actually see the movie and I can confirm they're in it, I wasn't going to go telling everybody like, holy shit, Daredevil's in the fucking MCU.
All right, and then this one here, I'm definitely not going to play the audio for this because I will definitely get copyright claim for this. But this is the Hawkeye trailer. This is the last thing that got released in between our last episode.
This I did not watch.
Oh, you didn't watch this?
I did not watch this.
Should I? Should we do? I don't know if I don't think you can hear my audio. That's the only thing. Um,
I don't know. I wonder
but
if I can.
yeah, just turn away. Turn away from this. The trailer's awesome. Go check it out. I'm not gonna
It's
spoil
okay.
much about it.
You can play it. You can play it. You can talk about it. I don't know. I won't know anything about it. Is it a movie or TV series?
It's a TV series.
Okay, I figured it was a TV series. This looks like a movie trailer though.
Yeah, so this is post Snap. I think everything in Phase 4 is gonna be pretty much after Endgame, but this is Hawkeye trying to reconnect with his family after the blip, and they're introducing Kate Bishop, the other Hawkeye. If you played Marvel's Avengers game,
It's his daughter, right?
No,
It's not his daughter.
no.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to be his daughter that he turns into Hawkeye.
No.
What's the relation?
She is a fan of Hawkeye.
Oh. Well, I will. I've seen all your movies.
Yeah. I haven't read the comics that this is based off of, but apparently they're great. The trailer has me excited. Actually, if we're gonna get any sort of connection to the Daredevil show, it's this show, because there are some characters that are, tied to the Kingpin and Daredevil and all that. So, this would be the show where I think it would happen. I don't think it's gonna happen, but you never know.
Well, I will watch this definitely tonight because I'm excited for that. I don't really. I hope it's just like a WandaVision thing, or it's just one season and it's done because.
I think it will be, yeah.
Unless you continue with Kate Bishop because
that's the thing. I don't think like Hawkeye will get his own series or whatever. Maybe Kate Bishop will. But I feel like no, this is their introduction to the character, so they can put her in the movies easier. She's not gonna get her own movie, but she'll be put into the movies.
Like, bro, you got like a wife and like three. What, you got 3 kids? Like you just saved half the world. You don't really owe us anymore. Like, just relax now. You're done. Like you don't need to keep doing stuff. Like I don't need like a 50-year-old Hawkeye running around. I'm kind of. I love Hawkeye, but I think we've had enough. And that's like the same thing with Winter Soldier. I was excited that like Winter Soldier had his thing, but like Bucky's like over 100 years old. He's tired. He doesn't want to fight anymore. It's like one of the reasons why Steve didn't even give him the shield either. He knows Bucky's tired of fighting. He doesn't want to fight anymore. He's he's just sick of it. So like the fact that they're gonna do another season, and then Sebastian Stan was like, "I'll keep playing Bucky as long as you want me to." I'm like.
Yeah, I feel like he loves the character and he's gonna like keep playing it as much as he can.
Wish they keep giving him roles, but I'm like, don't ruin the character though too, because he's over 100 years old. He just wants to chill. He just wants to relax, and he already made amends with all this stuff. Like he's tired of fighting. You could tell that in Endgame or in Infinity War when they hand him his arm, he doesn't want to do it anymore. So to keep making him do it, I feel is like not giving Bucky his deserved ending.
I mean, his story goes further in the comics, so I feel like they're not gonna run out of stuff for him to do in the movies, and I feel like he's probably gonna show up in the next Captain America movie. So, I imagine.
I just don't want to see Bucky the whole time being like, I don't want to fight anymore, and then he just like keeps going into like a whole like another season of him fighting stuff, and then the next season when we watch again, he's like, I'm tired of fighting. I just want to drink my beer and hang out at bars and whatever the hell he does. And then he's gonna be like, "Oh, another new thing. Let's fight."
I feel like the Valentina girl is going to recruit him for something.
Valentina.
Yeah, Contessa Valentina de Fontaine or something like that.
Did we already meet her?
Yeah, she was in Falcon and Winter Soldier and the end of Black Widow.
Okay, I know who you're talking about that. All
right. But yeah, this show looks like a lot of fun, so I am looking forward to it. So let's jump into What If episode 3, and we're gonna talk our initial thoughts on the episode. This is the one where basically Loki gets his way. The Avengers are dead. he takes over. This is actually a trailer for, it looks like a lot of episodes. I should have found a different video. But
this is essentially like it's almost like Avengers. Well, I don't really know what to say. It's kind of Avengers disassembled. They all just get wrecked, and then Loki just wins the invasion on Avengers.
yeah. So basically, the synopsis of this episode is that all the Avengers die one by one. We find out later that it's Hank Pym who his daughter died, and he blamed Nick Fury, and he's out for revenge. And since there's no Avengers to stop him, Loki just takes over and conquers the Earth. So I feel like every other episode so far, there's an episode where we can kind of analyze what went different and what's going to happen next based on what we know. So, I mean, in this episode, basically there's the idea is that what if all the Avengers died? But really, this was what if Nick Fury recruited Hope Van Dyne early on to S.H.I.E.L.D. and put her in the mission that was meant for Black Widow, where she went to Odessa, Ukraine, and she was killed by the Winter Soldier, whereas, Black Widow got shot through her hip, right? But I guess in this reality, Hope didn't make it. She got shot and ended up dying, and that kind of set off, Hank Pym to go on a rampage. Did you also notice that he was wearing a yellow jacket suit instead of an Ant-Man suit?
Yeah. I'm staring at him right now on my screen. That was really cool. So he's basically got he's got his Ant-Man stuff, but I think he has wings too, right? He's got the yellow jacket. So he's got he's got the wings, he's got the yellow helmet, and he just looks. He's honestly, if you haven't watched this episode yet, he is a very cool villain, actually. So I actually really like this episode a lot.
I'm playing Screen Culture's video, by the way, so that's why you see their logo and everything. But a lot of people are thinking that he, instead of fighting with Cross, he ended up teaming up with him, and that's why he has the yellow jacket suit. Because Cross ended up making that suit based off Ant-Man. So I think that's very possible. But yeah, there's just that one thing where they recruit Hope, changed just everything on this timeline. But
yeah, it basically just made Hank Pym a villain, and if you haven't seen this episode yet, he takes out the Avengers down one by one, and I'm not gonna give away how he does it.
This is entirely a spoiler podcast. Okay.
So he goes through each one killing them, but how he takes out Hulk is very cool. It was really cool to watch out how Hank Pym can take out the Hulk. That was really awesome.
Yeah, because
it was amazing.
Yeah, because normally you can't kill the Hulk. That's not something you can do.
Yeah, and even the ending, Loki and after so he takes out Thor, and Thor is killed, and then he is pissed off at he thinks it's Nick Fury, I think that he's killing him, or he wants to know who is doing it, and so Loki basically just unleashes his army on Earth, and Loki and Nick Fury teaming up was such a cool little fight scene against Hank Pym. It was very interesting.
I find it interesting that because Thor died early on, because Loki's plan was, which I feel like maybe he succeeded in this. Loki's plan was to deceive the Frost Giants, to kill Odin while he's in his Odin sleep, and but instead of doing that, trick them and then kill the Frost Giants, right? So that way Odin can be like, "Oh my God, you saved me! You saved Asgard. You're obviously the rightful king." Um, so, but in that movie, like Thor got his redemption, and he, he stopped Loki during that whole process. So in this movie, Thor dies before the Warriors 3 can come down to Earth and try to bring him back up, or even like accused Loki of tricking Odin to do all this stuff. So all that backstory into him, like wanting Thor out of the picture and everything is kind of put aside because he's like, oh shit, my brother's dead, and also he was able to succeed with this plan. So he's king of Asgard right now because Odin's in his Odin sleep, and nobody's here to stop him taking over the Earth. But what do you think would happen after Odin wakes up? Would he be like, because he, like, from what we've seen, he doesn't agree with Loki that he should have taken over the Earth and ruled it, and he's not fit to be a king. But in this timeline, Thor's dead, so he's probably like pissed off. So do you think like he would be like, yeah, fuck yeah, take over the Earth, they deserve it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one to decide, because if he came out of Odin's sleep and Thor has been killed, if he went down to Loki, if he went down to Earth, like, yeah, I don't know, because I wonder if like Odin, like he has a bad side to him in the past as well. I wonder if he would be like, clearly like Earth is capable of a higher form of war. They're able to kill Thor, the god of thunder, and I don't know. I don't know if he'd let Loki be king of both, but maybe he'd make him in charge of Earth.
Well, Odin would, like, he's temporary king of Asgard, right? Because Odin's still like sleeping.
So he probably wouldn't let him be king of Asgard, but he might allow him to, with like guidance or something, allow him to be the king of Earth. Just maybe not like just slaughter them with an army or whatever, but to make him like the Watcher of the Realms or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Loki and Nick Fury team up, but maybe I don't think Loki would want to also slaughter everybody on Earth. Like he's not Avenger Loki yet, because he hasn't been like cast out from Asgard. So
yeah. Well, this is like I've said in the last podcast, we've seen What If, and this is one of those questions. Then what? So that's one of them. Let's bring up the timeline here, and see how things might have been different. So this happens right. This happens during Iron Man 2, right? Yeah, this started during Iron Man 2. Yeah.
In the first Thor movie.
Yeah, the reason why this spans so many movies is because it happens during what's called Fury's Big Week in the MCU, where people realize that all these movies are happening within 1 week based on the timeline. So Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, Thor, and I think the Avengers, or maybe just those 3 movies. I don't know. So in those movies, yeah, Iron Man 2, I mean, I guess
does he kill Captain America? I can't remember. No. Or is Captain America just still on Earth or on ice? He's still on ice,
He's
right?
still on ice, yeah. So that's how the episode ended. There is a shot of it in this trailer here. So Nick Fury uncovers Captain America's shield, and he's paged Captain Marvel. So he's got Captain America and Captain Marvel up against Loki and all of Asgard. That's how that episode ends.
Yeah.
I will bring up before we continue going through the different movies and how things have changed. My original ideas for how this show will go, because every episode seems to lead on a cliffhanger, which you can be like, oh, use your imagination on how things would end, which is what we're doing in this podcast. Or it could be, continued in a season 2, because I think there is going to be a season 2 for the show. Or it could all come together at the end. Like somehow all these stories align, even though they take place in different timelines, and they all come together somehow. Which, based on the mid season trailer that Marvel put out, it seems like that's the case. Like I might pull that up, but they seem to suggest that these stories are going to continue because there's shots from each timeline for these characters that we know so far from the episodes that we've seen, but different shots that we haven't seen or continuations of these stories. So it seems like that's the way that this season is going to go. Is all these stories are going to come together somehow.
I'm wondering if it, like by the end of this with Loki and Fury working together, if that would mean like more Asgardians and humans would work together later in the past. I can't remember exactly how it ends with
Well,
Loki and.
they work together for that one thing, right? And then
Right.
Loki's like, you know what? I'm in charge now. So he kind of took over. But let's look at so Iron Man 2. After that donut scene, that's when Iron Man typically would have figured out the new element, went to the Stark Expo, and foiled Vanko's plot, or sorry, Whiplash's. I don't know if that's what his character's name was. I need to rewatch that movie.
It's Whiplash.
Yeah, so Whiplash foiled this plot to like I guess kill everyone in the name of revenge for Tony Stark, and then then the Avengers happen after that. So in this timeline, he wouldn't have been there to stop Rhodey from his machine being taken over and killing everyone. And
But would that guy even bother going to kill like go after? Did he when he's in that donut? Is that before or after he already takes down Whiplash?
that was after. No, that was yeah, after the first time. Whiplash is already working for Hammer Industries by then.
Oh, is
So
he?
he's already making the robots and planning for the Stark Expo.
Yeah.
And this was after his fight with War Machine at his place. So Rhodes already brought the War Machine armor to his superiors and is buying weapons from Hammer at this point.
Yeah.
So I think the Stark Expo might have still happened. If it did, it would have been a much bigger massacre and a lot bloodier.
Well, oh yeah. You're right. That does happen first. I was just skimming through really quickly on Iron Man. Yeah, that's true. Because he would give him the War Machine suit. AIM would probably be the next leading in technology, but without like Iron Man's like brain. I mean, the other guy's pretty smart too, but yeah, a new element wouldn't come up, and I don't
Also,
know. I don't.
Hammer still would have been screwed in this timeline because he's like, they would have pinned all that on him. It'd be like,
Yeah.
your robots killed everyone. Like, you're going to prison.
Yeah. We wouldn't have any nanotech either,
Yeah.
like later down the line either. So I don't know. It'd be a lot we would not have.
Unless there's anything else to go over, let's go to the Incredible Hulk. In this timeline, he is played by Mark Ruffalo in this movie. And yeah, so this happens during the fight scene in that university or whatever it was.
Right, like I think like a campus or something. Is that before the other dude becomes Abomination? I think
Yes,
so. Yeah.
because
So
in the movie, I remember in the movie at this point, the Hulk kicks him and he like flies back into a tree.
yeah.
Where that didn't happen in this. Also, he was never there. Blonsky was never there in the animated version, unless he's just off screen.
Well, if he's dead, there wouldn't be. I mean, if Hulk's dead, I don't know if he'd have the same. If they'd have the same thing on, doing a like a sort of like a last hope, something that can
Yeah.
fight against Hulk, so he
I
might
think
never become Abomination, or he
maybe.
could, and then he could still just like I don't know. I guess he'd pretty much take over New York. He
Yeah,
could do whatever he
because
wanted.
I think his motivations are, oh shit, that's a being with so much power I've never seen before, and I want that. I want that power. Um, because he's like his character is like he's a fighter, but he has limitations, and he doesn't like that. He wants to be strong, right?
Right.
Um, but you know, he was guided to that that experiment through General Ross. Now, at this point, I don't know if he had the injection yet. At this point,
I don't remember that
because
either.
I think he was running and like he was like super strong at this point in the movie. I need to rewatch the movie. So I
I
think he had that first injection. So he's
think so
still,
too.
yeah,
He's like a super soldier, sort of.
yeah, he has the super soldier thing. Um, but I think after this point, the Hulk's dead. General Ross would be like, I'm not creating. He would be like, I'm not creating another one, right? So he wouldn't
Yeah.
have. But do you, because the events of that movie lead him to Mister Blue, or the leader, as he's never called in the movies. But it's the guy who he was sending the the like test
Samples.
samples to, right?
Yeah.
So do you think he still would have met him in the movie? Because he was willing to. Like, he's like, oh, I want to see how far this can go. It seems like they both wanted this to happen, right? Do you think he would have still ended up meeting Mr. Blue, and he would have still became the Abomination at that point? Or the events of this timeline just kind of negates all that?
That's what I'm wondering. It could go. I guess I only have like two ways that off the top of my head that I know. I think it could go. Either that guy would be the bad guy who becomes Abomination. Either he would start like a little, he'd probably try and steal, um, the, whatever you want to call it, the radiation or the, I can't remember how he gets his powers. I think they
Mm-hmm.
just do an injection in him or something. But I
Yeah.
feel like he would fight his way to take that, and then he's like, I got all this power. I don't have to follow orders anymore. And then he would just be the new villain. Or if they still gave it to him, and they're like, we can create like a new whatever stronger. I don't want to say stronger Hulk, but if we want to create our own that wasn't an accident, and then they create the Abomination, he could still end up being a villain, or they could use him as like just a crazy like monster to unleash on other countries for wars and stuff, and then he would just be like their
Yeah.
ultimate like Abomination soldier or whatever.
Well, initially, and now I kind of wish I added this one shot into this graphic here because I'm like, it's not that important. But in the consultant one shot, it was revealed that um the organization, I can't remember what the organization is called, the one that Shield answers to, which is like a bunch of different governments or whatever. They initially wanted Abomination to be recruited as part of the Avengers, but because of the events of the one shot, they 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 went after Hulk as a backup choice.
Yeah.
Um, but that was because of what happened in Harlem at the end of the Hulk movie. So I
Right.
don't know if they would, like, maybe they would still be wanting a Hulk character for the Avengers, and pushing for, like, hey, there's this guy who's lining up to do the experiment, so maybe he's our choice and he's going to follow orders and stuff. So maybe it's a government controlled Abomination.
Right.
Um, but but I don't know, like, or maybe because the events in the Incredible Hulk didn't happen in the end like they originally did in the movies. Maybe they weren't, I don't know, inspired to do that and
Right.
just give up on the Hulk altogether. I don't know.
They're also like they could recruit him, but he would at the end of the day he's just muscle, right? Another
Mm-hmm.
reason why they recruited the Hulk is because Bruce Banner has like what, like 7 PhDs, and he's like a
Mm-hmm.
genius too. So like
Yeah.
at least Bruce Banner, they get a ton out of him. Whereas this guy, he would, if they recruit him or not, he would, all he would really just be is just muscle for them. He's not like he's not a genius. He's like a soldier, so
Yeah.
he's just like essentially really ridiculous, powerful Captain America with um,
So,
I don't know,
so
the
maybe
Hulk.
by that point, they recruit Eric Selvig as the
Oh
science
yeah,
guy.
yeah, they could do that.
Yeah. So let's continue on through what's next on the list here. So Thor. Um, Obviously the end of Thor is different. I mean, we kind of see what happens at the end of Thor in this episode.
Yeah.
Loki just comes out on top. Um,
All right. I
and
guess I don't know if we'd see. I guess as I don't know if Earth would see as Guardians as
they would see them as the enemy. Yeah,
yeah, they would see
like
them as
these
the
are
enemy.
rulers.
Yeah, I don't think they'd see them as peaceful
Hmm.
or realm guardians or anything like that anymore. Without Thor,
Yeah,
Loki's they already seen Loki as not level headed and just like a bully. And then if you got the army coming down, then that's hostile. And then unless Odin himself came down and was like, "Yo, it's not what my adopted son's a piece of shit." So
yeah.
like I don't,
I think it all depends on what Odin does when he wakes
yeah,
up and
yeah,
how
it
the
definitely
writers are
does.
going to portray that because
Yeah,
it could go either way.
yeah. I'm leaning towards the Asgardians and humans wouldn't get along as much, and then
Hmm.
I don't know. Feel like that would be we'd have humans would be they'd still be like Nick Fury would still be trying to get weapons like his hands on weapons that can he's like we got a potential army that can come and go as they please, so we might need to start building some weapons to fight Asgard. So
Yeah, well, yeah, he definitely would be like, we're gonna have a war with Asgard on our hands. We gotta plan accordingly and have like the biggest, best weapons we can.
yeah,
Because that's how he was in the Avengers.
I'm
Um,
not I'm not I'm not saying Shield and Hydra would team up, but I wonder if what's the guy that Nick Fury's friends with that ends up being the villain?
mm,
I wonder
uh,
if he would.
something Pierce, Alexander
Yeah, I
Pierce
wonder
or
if.
something.
Yeah, I wonder if Pierce would be able to then sway Nick Fury into those helicarriers
Hmm.
being, something that they can use to take out, but like more like add more like they go beyond to Earth. They go like they turn the helicarriers into something for
Yeah,
space, and then we take like a fight to Asgard.
yeah.
Not that we know where it is, but something like that.
I feel like Hydra would thrive in this timeline too. I feel like Nick Fury would be desperate, and he at this point doesn't know that Hydra has taken over Shield. So
Right.
I think they would be more poised in the position to um, completely infiltrate Shield and take over. Because
Mhm.
he doesn't the Cap. Well, I don't know. Captain America is still in this timeline. He just hasn't been unfrozen yet, right?
Right.
So I don't know. So the Avengers movie doesn't happen, but a different type of Avengers movie might happen with Captain America, Captain Marvel, and then whatever else Nick Fury can come up with. But a lot of these other movies just don't happen. Like Iron Man 3, uh, the what would change is that the what's his name, the extremist guy who's part of AIM, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Eric something.
Um, I don't remember, but he doesn't have anybody to stop him from doing these experiments, and so I think he would have, I don't know, got funding or whatever he needed to introduce extremists into the world, and then you see like,
Which would have been really bad for humanity for a while
yeah,
because like basically essentially suicide,
mm-hmm.
Eldritch killing. I think is what you're
Aldrich
thinking of.
Killian, yeah, yeah,
We'd have bombs going off everywhere, but I don't know if he somehow did break it, then humans would be even stronger though because we'd have
yeah.
people. I
It,
mean, Iron
and
Man.
maybe his extremist army goes after Asgard. I don't know. Like you have like a bunch of fire breathing people going up against Asgardians.
Right.
And then I Thor: The Dark World. I Thor's not around to stop the Dark Elves.
And he doesn't take what's her name with the
Mm,
reality stone up to whatever. So I think she'd probably killing a bunch of people with the ether.
Mm-hmm.
and then until like
Would
I
she
don't know.
be in London though? Because she goes, so she, like, her whole thing is she's trying to find Thor after the events of the Thor movie.
Yeah,
And
but if he dies,
yeah, if he dies, like, where's she's well, maybe I'll just do something else. I don't know. Like, would she still end up in London? Would she still go to that point where that convergence was happening?
right?
And would she still find the ether?
But
Because
that
the
would.
ether wakes up the dark elves, so maybe the dark elves don't wake up.
Yeah. I don't know if Thanos this time knows where the ether is, but without
That's a
Loki
good point.
taking the Tesseract, I don't know if Loki taking the Tesseract. I guess that would happen in Avengers. If without Loki attacking Earth and doing this deal with Thanos to attack for the, he's like, if we'll give you your army or whatever, and I believe Thanos gives him the Mind Stone and the
Yeah.
Scepter, right? So that
Yeah,
he can
so
go.
in this movie, he didn't get to that point. He
Right,
doesn't
right,
have he doesn't have the Mind Stone. He doesn't have the Tesseract. He might not even have the intention to get those things because that was under the, um, you know, um, order of Thanos.
right. So, but without that ever coming up, and Loki would just be in charge of Earth or whatever, or however that plays out, he would already have that. I wonder if Thanos would eventually just show up on his own with his army, and then Thanos would have an army against Loki,
Yeah,
and then he would take the Tesseract Stone from Earth, and then Loki and Thanos would just be having like a war. It'd be like Asgardians versus Thanos to steal that. So I wonder if you're going to Thor: The Dark World, then I wonder if Thanos would just show up and
yeah,
attack and like try to reclaim the ether as well. I don't know if he knows that it exists there, but
maybe. Yeah.
that's what I was wondering. So
So
that's two Infinity Stones that he's just like, well,
yeah, he already has the Mind Stone at that point because he gives it to
right,
Loki. So he has the Mind Stone.
yeah, true.
He's
No,
he
but I'm talking he would go back to Earth to get the Space Stone and the
yeah.
ether though.
But the ether's not on Earth. It's in that place
Oh,
that she travels to.
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
Only
that's
the
right.
Tesseract is on the Tesseract and the Time Stone are on Earth
Right,
at
right.
this
That's
point.
true.
Which I don't know if he knows that either is there yet.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot ether was like she was like in something that
Hmm.
lined up, and that was just some
Yeah.
I don't know. That was like
So I don't know. Like maybe he comes to Earth early to get the Space Stone. I don't know, but
yeah.
um I don't know. I'd like to think that maybe not. Maybe I think he's still out there looking for the Power Stone and all that other stuff.
Boy, if Thanos came after the Space Stone, we'd have Aldrich Killian and AIM at the forefront
Yeah.
of that, yeah, and that would not go well for us.
Nope. Nope. um. Next up on the list is Captain America: Winter Soldier, and I think that Captain America is still around, but I don't think the events of like the start of that movie is the same. Black Widow's not around. He didn't spend time with the original Avengers.
Yeah.
So does he stop Hydra in this movie?
Well, if at the end of that one, because Nick Fury has Captain Marvel and Captain America, I'm
Mhm.
assuming Captain Marvel can take out Hydra. So I'd assume she'd
But
make
this,
quick work of Doc of what's
yeah,
his name? Like Bucky would probably be dead. Like I feel like if I
Bucky's still Winter Soldier.
yeah, I know Bucky's still Winter Soldier, which is why I'm saying like if that they had a close fight and like Cap was trying to take out Winter Soldier
Hmm.
before he knew it was Bucky. But if you throw Captain Marvel in the mix, Captain Marvel would just blast him till he's dead, and then I wonder if that would make I don't know if Captain Marvel kills him, that's gonna make a feud between um what's his name Steve Rogers and
Hmm.
maybe not her because she didn't know it was his friend or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like there'd be drama somewhere in there because then now Iron Man or you got Captain Marvel, she's gonna take out all of Hydra. She can destroy the carriers. She can wipe through the entire army, no problem. So I don't know until it comes down to her, Bucky, and Steve. Then I don't know if if Cap would be pissed that he died, or if they'd be able to bring him back sooner.
Here's my rebuttal to that. Captain Marvel leaves after they deal with the Asgardians because
Yeah, I guess
she's not needed on Earth anymore.
that's true. What
Yeah.
if Cap went with her? What if she flew
Why? Why
somewhere?
would he?
I don't know. What if she left to go do something on another planet and
Yeah,
and Cap went with her, and then it's just Roger. It's just what's his name?
that'd be an
Uh,
interesting story.
yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I don't think there's I don't think there's anything else in significance there. I feel like the events of Winter Soldier would end up differently. Um, I feel like it depends how the writers want to do this, like how they want to go about doing this movie. So this is a hard one to kind of consider
Hmm.
how it would end up differently. I feel like because it's a different timeline, there's different characters. Black Widow's not around. Who knows if Falcon's gonna be in this movie in this timeline? I
Falcon was basically only recruited by Steve Rogers, so
Yeah,
I mean, he was just a Marine who had to
everything's got to
save.
be the same, right? So it's like I don't know if they end
Yeah,
up meeting or
yeah, he's just got all he's got is a wingsuit that he said was locked up. So without
Mhm.
Cap, Black Widow to break in and get his exo
Yeah.
whatever wings back. Like I don't think he'd be Falcon again.
Maybe so if Captain America survives the war with the Asgardians, if there is
Huh.
one, um,
Yeah,
then maybe he probably still meets the Winter Soldier and
yeah.
tries to like convert him back to Bucky Barnes. But I don't know if Hydra still wins or not at this point. I feel like they
Uh,
would.
I think Captain. Yeah, maybe. I guess it could. If Captain Marvel is still on Earth, then Hydra loses. If she leaves, then yeah, I'd agree with you. I think they win. But if you have I feel like the war with the Asgardians would be the big one, unless like Steve Rogers tries to talk them out of the war, and like Captain Marvel flies him up to Asgard, and then Steve Rogers could probably talk with Odin, and they can probably I don't know handle it peacefully or whatever. But
Mhm.
then I don't know where it goes from there.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Let's look at
That'd be honestly really cool though if you had Captain Marvel and Captain America just
yeah.
she's just carrying him around and they're just flying through space. That'd be pretty dope.
Does this episode change anything about the Guardians of the Galaxy movies? Do you think? Like based on what you know in
Mm,
those movies? Just Thanos, right?
I
Maybe.
guess mostly just Thanos because they wouldn't find Thor.
Yeah. He has the Mind Stone, so you could be like, "Oh, Ronan, you're not listening to me? Well, Mind Stone, you're listening to me now."
Well, without
Yeah.
Thor's idea for Ragnarok too, I wonder when's Ragnarok and then Hela destroys all the Asgardians when they're all trying to flee that ship. So I wonder if then she takes over. But we're still wondering what Odin does and during like between all that missing time though too. So if he eventually dies,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happens then. But I don't know if Loki would have thought about causing Ragnarok and all that. So I wonder if Hela then wins at that point. So
Well,
that's what.
that's going like way in
Yeah,
the future there. But yeah, I think Hela would win. Yeah,
yeah,
I think Ragnarok would have maybe even happened sooner.
yeah. I was just
Um,
saying because then Hela wins, then no
mm,
Asgardians are fleeing, which means Thanos doesn't
yeah,
find their ship, which means he can't find Thor, and then I don't know if Guardians of the Galaxy and um, I don't know if they ever even know who the Avengers are because Thor's the one who tells them. So then I guess
yeah.
Thanos would probably just eliminate. He'd probably just eliminate everybody. He'd end up winning as the biggest outcome, I guess.
It's crazy to think about because this is in this episode everything happens just on Earth in a span of a week, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
just these events happening within the week. You'd think like a lot of these, um, like other movies, Thor and all these other stuff wouldn't be affected, but just killing off the Avengers in a week, and how many of these things have changed because we're going through like Winter Soldier and we're skipping over to Ragnarok here, but and Thor: The Dark World and all that stuff, and we're kind of thinking like it's hard to say what would have happened because of the events in this episode. If you can
especially
go either
like
way.
if you call it was it you called it Nick Fury's big week recruiting everybody. I'd say it's
Yeah,
Hank Pym's big week, fucking eliminating everybody in fucking a few
yeah,
days. He eliminated Thor just because he's like he literally says he's just like, well, he's like, we didn't even know that guy. And he's like, yeah, but you would have recruited him. Like
Yeah,
he's most of what
exactly.
I thought about. So
Uh,
Falcon
it,
puts a pair of wings on, and Hank Pym goes and kills him too. Be like, well, you would have
mhm.
recruited him. Like he would have just been going after everybody. So
I think Age of Ultron doesn't happen at all. We wouldn't see the birth of. Also, Hydra doesn't have the Mind Stone scepter to do the experiments on. We wouldn't see
so
the birth of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Ultron wouldn't have been created. So this movie just altogether does not happen.
Hulkbuster wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that none of that
Yeah,
happens then because it would have just been Jarvis, and
yeah,
who would even have? I don't know who would even have Jarvis after that.
yeah, yeah. Well, like whoever I don't know, whoever is in the will to have Jarvis. I don't know.
I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, is Pepper Potts? Does she get? Does she go? Does she get Jarvis? Does she create a?
maybe Happy.
Create,
Happy gets Jarvis.
he creates his own suit, or just takes one of Iron Man's suits. Who knows?
Yeah. Ant-Man doesn't happen. I think Scott Lang just gets out of prison and he has a hard time finding a job. That's all that
Yeah,
happens there.
yeah, pretty much.
Uh, yeah, and Darren Cross wouldn't have like he's already got the Ant-Man suit from Hank Pym, like assuming they work together to make it. Maybe there's an army of Ant-Men to fight against Asgardians now. Like an army of Yellow Jackets, because that's what his thing was, is to create Yellow Jacket armor. He was going to sell it to Hydra actually, but like to create it for the army.
Yeah, but he's younger though too. He doesn't know
Mm-hmm. And
all of
also, he doesn't have this like estranged relationship with Hank Pym at this point, because maybe they're still friends and they're working together, right?
all right, yeah.
Um, Spider-Man. I mean, I think Spider-Man's still around, but
Spider-Man, I guess, would still become a thing, but Iron Man would never be there to recruit him, so
yeah.
he wouldn't even know that him and Tony Stark would never have their relationship. So he'd
Mm-hmm.
probably just stick with helping out around friendly neighborhood stuff. I don't think he'd go and just decide
Yeah.
to go tackle something. Maybe Nick Fury would eventually recruit him later.
Maybe, yeah, like he finds out about him.
Yeah,
Yeah, he wouldn't have that suit. The I think his fight with
I,
if he fights if he ends up fighting with Vulture, that would end up a lot differently.
yeah, but Vulture only becomes because he uses the technology
Mm-hmm.
um, from the ships from Avengers, so he would never have all
Yeah.
that tech.
Oh
And
yeah,
that
yeah, that's right, that's right. Yeah.
all that tech would never
Shit.
exist. All
Yeah.
those
So
weapons would never exist. So he'd just be a construction worker. That's all he'd be.
yeah. Oh my
Vulture.
god. Yeah. So there wouldn't be like a big bad for this movie. It'd just be him fighting crime in the streets.
Yeah, pretty much. There'd be none of the tech weapons that are built from alien stuff. The guys only lost their jobs and stuff because it was like construction things to do with um I don't know. I think because of all the stuff that happened in New York, or whatever. So they'd just all
Yeah.
just be construction workers. They wouldn't be arms dealing. They wouldn't have could be raiding for alien tech.
That's right.
I think it would just be
Now.
there'd be the Tony Stark Tower doesn't even exist at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
so like we don't.
Throwing a wrench here. Does Spider-Man exist in this universe? Because does the events that happen in this episode, would that have led to maybe Uncle Ben surviving?
Maybe I don't know. They never tell you how Uncle Ben dies
Yeah.
in his, and we don't know how he gets bit by the spider. I'm assuming Oscorp, but we'd never hear anything about Oscorp at all in
Yeah.
Tom Holland Spider-Man. So I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. I think he would still be Spider-Man, but I don't think this movie necessarily would have happened. There wouldn't have been a big bad guy. He would just be fighting crime in the street.
Yeah, unless Nick Fury recruits him, but that's about it.
Yeah. Doctor Strange? What's changed there?
I don't know
I don't
because
think anything did.
Not really. I guess Hank Pym would die before. I can't remember if they kill him or not at the end of the What
Hank,
If episode, but
Hank Pym?
yeah.
No, they just arrest him.
Okay, so then yeah, like I don't. This is like 5 years in the past, so like Doctor Strange isn't even a thing yet, and he has no idea about
Well,
Doctor.
Doctor Strange takes place after Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Right, right. I'm just saying we're still talking about the what if though, right?
Yeah. Well,
Like Doctor Strange would never, or
no,
Hank Pym
the Doctor
would never.
Strange movie, like would the Doctor Strange movie have happened because of this episode?
Uh, yeah, I think so. Because Hank Pym doesn't affect the time stone at all.
Yeah, and I don't think he's had any interaction with any of the elements of this story in this episode. So
I don't think he'd know anything about the time stones, know nothing about the
yeah,
ancient one, and then it's like still way earlier that he would know nothing about Doctor Strange eventually
yeah.
becoming a sorcerer. So
I think
yeah,
yeah, if the time stone is not related to anything in like when we're talking about different timelines, I think Doctor Strange exists in its own little kind of pocket world where like it's separate from all that other stuff.
yeah,
So yeah, it's I think there's not much that you can do to affect that movie when you're talking about the other Avengers. Yeah,
yeah.
so I think Doctor Strange still happens in this timeline.
And it
Um,
just affects, I think it just affects the main six.
yeah.
Affects them. Yeah, Bartman's dead, so there's no Hawkeye anymore. So there's none of that stuff. So
What about Black Panther?
I don't
I
think
mean,
so.
Civil War didn't happen. Did we skip Civil War? I think
Uh,
I did skip Civil War. Obviously, Civil War doesn't happen.
Civil War definitely doesn't happen because there's
Yeah,
half the team's gone, half the team hasn't been created.
yeah. They don't
I
have
think
the
the only
same.
people, yeah, I
I
think
mean,
the only people on that list would be Cap and
yeah. Let's be honest. The things that lead to the Sokovia Accords are a result of Iron Man and Scarlet Witch, for the most
yeah.
part. So like those two are not around. I don't think Civil War happens at all.
Yeah.
Um, even Zemo doesn't have like his motivations to start doing all this stuff.
I don't
Um,
affect anything on further other than it would affect Ragnarok, but anything else
yeah.
wouldn't. Black Widow would still be. Oh, I'm leaning out of the shot.
I mean,
Black Widow would.
Black Panther would be different because his father wouldn't have died. He would still be the king.
That's true.
Yeah,
So then I guess nobody would ever know
yeah,
of all the vibranium and stuff they have
yeah.
there. So
I mean, Killmonger would still be trying to get into Wakanda. Um,
mhm.
so I think like their missions on oh, Claw showed up on our radar. It wouldn't be T'Challa doing running these missions. It would be T'Chaka. He'd be like he'd have like some other sort of
I think
objective.
Killmonger would just kill Claw and then use
Yeah,
Claw as a like his corpse river to get into Wakanda, but that's about
yeah,
it. Like Claw wouldn't even have his like hand cannon because
yeah,
he like Ultron would never cut it off. Claw
yeah.
would still have all
Mm-hmm.
that vibranium, so
Yeah,
unless like Killmonger decided to kill Claw and then take all that vibranium and return it back to Black Panther, and then maybe
yeah.
he gets in a nice way or something. But
So
I still think
really, we're looking at the end of that movie, like how the end of that movie is different because, uh, well, I mean, yeah, T'Challa is still a Black Panther. He would be fighting against Killmonger, but
yeah,
like Killmonger at the time he goes there, like to the throne, um, T'Chaka is still king. Like maybe he goes in and he kills T'Chaka, and then
maybe or
uh,
T'Chaka is like, yeah, this is my. It could. I don't know. Yeah, unless T'Chaka's just like this is he is welcome here. He's my
mhm,
son or he's my brother's kid.
yeah,
And then unless they have like a peaceful discussion, it would probably still just be that Killmonger tries to kill him, and then it would depend on whether he beats him in combat or not. But right, because he's
yeah,
probably either unless they did a diplomat like I don't know peacefully where they talk about it. He's like, I'm sorry I killed your dad, but your dad did this and this and this, blah blah
mhm.
blah. And then unless he was like cool with that, but if he
I
wasn't, then they would do
I
the fight to the
I feel like he wouldn't accept his challenge to the throne, and then Killmonger's like, all right, fine, I'm gonna like expose you,
yeah.
for the fraud you are, and then he's gonna like get the help from the other tribes and the people who like don't agree with T'Chaka's rule,
Yeah.
and then there's gonna be some other big fight that
Mhm.
happens. I think in the end though that movie is gonna end up the same, where Killmonger's dead, and T'Challa's Black Panther.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Thor Ragnarok is I don't know. I think maybe Ragnarok would happen earlier. I mean, the the whole uh other side of that movie with the Hulk and what's that planet? Sakaar. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, no.
There's no revolution from Korg and all that stuff. Um, but yeah, Ragnarok happens. Thor's not there to stop it, and I think a lot more. Basically, I think all of Asgard is gonna be dead at that point.
Yeah. Or Hela, or they all kneel for Hela. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I'm the only person who gets Thanos though, unless he gets
You're, you're cutting out.
stones before.
Your mic's been cutting out like this whole time, but it hasn't been like super bad. It's just that at that point I didn't hear you.
How is it now?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, unless Hela, like, I think Hela might be the only one who could stop Thanos at that time. Unless Thanos had an Infinity Stones, then she might not
Yeah.
lose. But
You still have
that's a whole different.
your mic's still bad, but I was able to catch that. So yes. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know who. Yeah, do you think Hela would win in a fight against Thanos?
I think so. I mean, she has a pretty giant spear that she could just throw right through him. Like, that giant one.
your, your mic has
Yeah.
gone like so bad now. Oh, it got worse. I feel like, I feel like Hela would win in a fight against Thanos without the Infinity Stones. But if Thanos had Infinity Stones, then he can take on Hela.
Yeah, I think with Infinity Stones, he wins, or at least comes really close. I think without them, like she threw a spear through an entire ship, so I think she could just make spear as big as him and just pretty much obliterate him with one shot. But
yeah, I agree. Ant-Man and the Wasp doesn't happen.
Yeah,
kind of
no,
like,
it does not.
Not really important to anything. So
Hope's dead, and Ant-Man never comes.
Yeah, all of that stuff. When the only thing that would have been different is Ghost. I think Ghost would still be a thing. No, because wait, wasn't Hank Pym responsible for that?
Possibly.
I don't remember.
Yeah, probably.
I've watched that movie so many times.
I
feel like I should know.
Yeah, I either if he's responsible for it, then it doesn't happen. He's not responsible for it. If not, then like she wouldn't be going for his stuff because he wouldn't have like he'd be a villain and he would stop working back. And what did he get taken down? 2012 then, 2011 because Thor time.
All right, I'm gonna need to have you say all that stuff again, just because your mic's really bad. But
well, like he would. I don't think she'd be going after his technology because his technology would be non-existent because he would have stopped working on it once he was arrested.
Right,
So,
but do you think she becomes Ghost?
That's again, I don't remember. I can't remember if Hank Pym is responsible for it or not, so I don't remember.
Yeah.
I forget what happens to her that she starts.
There's some accident.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember it, unfortunately. Black Widow. I wish I could. I wish I could have made these graphics for like bits and pieces of movies that happened, like out of chronological order, like flashbacks and stuff. Because but basically the Black Widow movie doesn't happen because there's no Black Widow, and they don't take down the guy.
The guy would still be just floating up in his tower up in the clouds, and then he'd just have a whole bunch of
secret spies,
assassins.
Yeah. Infinity War. I think like we said, Guardians of the Galaxy is not affected by this. I think Thanos is still doing his thing. Obviously, Infinity War as a movie would be drastically different, but I think he gets his way sooner because they only like Thor's not around either. So like it's just the Guardians of the Galaxy who like have one interaction with him.
Yeah.
Getting the although hold on, the Collector doesn't have the ether. They wouldn't have even known to go to nowhere. And Thor told him to go to nowhere.
Yeah.
So
he maybe
he would go, like, maybe he doesn't even find the ether.
Maybe he never snaps his fingers, or maybe he just eventually gets them all, and I don't know. He just has to terrorize everybody in the universe until he finds out who knows how to get to the ether. But because if he'd still have the majority of the stones, like Black Panther or what's it called? The Galaxy probably still leave the Power Stone on Xandar.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So yeah, the Power Stone would be on Xandar. He would get the Power Stone. He has the Mind Stone already, but he doesn't know. He doesn't know where the ether is, because the Asgardians hid it, and they're dead because Ragnarok happened. And he doesn't know where the Soul Stone is. So he has 2 Infinity Stones. He is still going to Earth because Doctor Strange happened. I feel like he would find out that the Time Stone's on Earth.
Yeah, I still think he'd eventually still find the Soul Stone because nothing affects Gamora and Nebula at all. So
yeah, he finds out that Gamora's lying. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like Soul Stone, I guess. So he'd only be really missing out on the ether, unless he doesn't find out where the Time Stone is on Earth
and the Tesseract.
But the Tesseract.
Where did we leave off the Tesseract? Where did we decide what happened to that?
It would still be on Earth because the last people who have it in 2011, I guess, were
Shield would still have
Howard
it, right?
Stark. Yeah, Shield would still have it because Howard Stark pulls it out of the ocean when he goes looking for Steve. Yeah. So Shield would have that. So he'd have most of it. It would take a little while to find, and unless because he had to have known the Time Stone was on Earth because he sends Ma and what's his name, something Onyx or something. What's his name?
In the comics his name is Black Dwarf, I think, but in the movie they changed it to Call Obsidian. Call Obsidian. Yeah, so the children of Thanos in the comics are called Call Obsidian, and Call Obsidian's name in the comics was Black Dwarf, I think. Yeah. And then in the movies they're like, let's not call him Black Dwarf, let's call him Call Obsidian.
Call Obsidian is a sweet name. It's way better than Black Dwarf, and that gets into a different issue. Yeah. But yeah, he puts him down right in front of Doctor Strange's house, so he must know where the Time Stone was.
Yeah, but like the events of that timeline are different, you know. Like he knows about the Avengers and all that stuff, and Loki went to Earth. But yeah, the events of Doctor Strange I don't think have changed, so he probably knows that the Time Stone's there.
Yeah, he'd have to. Plus, Doctor Strange would still use it against what's his name, Dormammu. So I feel like that's something that big. I feel like that's something that Thanos would know about Dormammu.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's. I mean, he put them right. They put his children right in front of his house. So I feel like he would know. I don't know if. I think the Maw would then torture the shit out of Doctor Strange till he had to give it in. I don't know if Doctor Strange would give it because he only gave it to save Tony's life.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Also, he saw those different timelines because he knew that there was only one way. So he would have came to Earth with the Soul Stone and he would have came to Earth with the Mind Stone. Okay, hold on. He has the Mind Stone and the Power Stone.
Yeah.
He maybe uses the Mind Stone to have Gamora tell him where the Soul Stone is.
Oh yeah, then
But he still kills Gamora to get the Soul Stone.
Yeah, so he has 3. He has 3 for sure. Then he easily takes a Tesseract out of Shield's hands or Hydra, whoever is sitting on the top of that.
Yeah.
And he just needs to own it.
They're both in New York, so they would have like slaughtered half of New York. To get the Time Stone out of Doctor Strange, where like who knows if he would have given it to him or not. The only thing is the ether. Does he get the ether? Because he doesn't know where it is. Like at least the Soul Stone, someone knew where it was, and he he was able to get the information and he knew who the person was. All of Asgard's dead. Nobody knows where the
Yeah,
ether is.
you say the same thing on Earth though too. If he gets everything but the ether, he'll just use his army the old-fashioned way and slaughter half of Earth. So if he kills, what's her name?
Gamora,
the girl who finds the ether.
Oh, Jane Foster.
If he kills her, she might not find the ether for him. She doesn't even really know she's looking for the ether though.
No, she doesn't. And that event already happened. Like it to get to the convergence, like
yeah, that's exactly. She doesn't even know what she's looking for. So unless
I think it's hidden. I think it's hidden away. I don't think he can get to it.
But to be fair, he was just killing people the old-fashioned way, anyways. Now
he has think about it, stones.
He has 5 stones, and he can just open up a giant portal and just have his army go through the portal at any other planet, and then just have them just murder every planet the old-fashioned way that way.
Yeah,
I guess.
It just take longer because his idea was to do it all in a snap. But really, the reality stone, which is the ether, is what's the necessary component to make that happen, right?
Yeah.
Like of all the other abilities that he has with those stones, does he have the ability to locate the ether because of that? Now, I will say in the comics, the stones have this sort of intelligence to them where they want to find each other. The more that you collect, like the more that get within close range to each other, the more that they're trying to find the other stones. So maybe he would be led or brought to those stones that way. But I don't think they've established that for the movies. So I don't know if that's the same rule that's applied to the movies.
Yeah, I think he still gets his way, whether he has to do it with army and 5 Infinity Stones, or he somehow locates the 5th one or the 6th one and still just gets his way, and then nobody stops him.
Yeah.
Either way, it still falls down to Thanos winning. I'm pretty sure. Although, yeah, because the Ancient One would still be dead. I'm just trying to think of people who could stop him. Odin would still die.
Got Marvel, but yeah, Nick Fury. Like maybe when he touches down, Nick Fury's around in New York, and he pages Captain Marvel, and then she comes to Earth.
Yeah, she might be able to stop him, and maybe Hela if she's even interested in doing that. But you could argue in the comic books they work together, and he loves her. But I don't know if that's the thing.
That's different. Yeah, he loves the embodiment of death, and he wants to kill people to impress her.
Yeah. So I think at the end of this, the only people who we have left really to stop him is Captain Marvel and Hela, and that just depends if they want to do that and if his stones can defeat them or not, because he still has the Power Stone and he kicks Captain Marvel's ass with the Power Stone in Infinity War. So as long as he's got that, I think he can still take her out.
I think that the Guardians of the Galaxy and Black Panther is still around, and I mean Doctor Strange. It all depends on. Maybe he takes out Doctor Strange early. I don't know, but yeah, like maybe Doctor Strange can fight him.
Wakanda's gonna be once Thanos gets all that though. There's without Iron Man to slow him down, and all the rest of everybody else to slow him down.
Yeah,
I think Thanos he can just trample over Wakanda, no problem. I think he just takes down that shield and just obliterate everybody until wherever. Or even just mind control people. There's no vision, there's nothing. So I think he just annihilates Wakanda. He could probably still beats Captain Marvel, I think, with a Power Stone. I don't know about Hela. I think Hela's the only one.
I don't think Hela would fight him.
I don't think so either. I think they just both have their own thing.
I think if anything, she would join him. She'd be like, "Oh, I get to murder people. Awesome."
Yeah, he recruits her as one of his one of his children or whatever.
Yeah, I could.
What's the I don't know. Is there anything else we want to talk about that? So I'm to the next one because
that's I think we've kind of established what happens in that episode. Let's move on to the next one. I got an image here that I froze on. Seems like perfect. This is the mid-season sneak peek trailer. Because I don't have an official trailer for the 3rd episode of Doctor Strange here. But there's in the next episode is all about Doctor Strange. And I do want to get into that because I really love that episode. But before we do, I just want to bring up some notes that Matt had. so that way I can get his voice on this podcast. He's not able to join us, fortunately. He's not feeling too well. But he says I just asked him like general thoughts on everything that he wants me to bring up to the podcast. He says the what if cliffhangers are annoying. He loved the zombies episode, which is one that's coming up in our discussion. But and he said Shang-Chi was amazing. So I'm jealous that he got to see it. And he is hype for the Eternals. And he said his theory with the cliffhangers is the point at which the watcher finally interferes. I guess is where all the cliffhangers are going to converge. So like where they all left off is the point where no, we're not live, Jordan. You could just ask me. So where each episode ends, I think his theory is that that's the point where the watcher's like, all right, enough, I'm interfering. I don't think so. I think based on this trailer that Marvel put out here, we can see that there's more continuation to some of those stories. So I think those stories continue. Does the Watcher interfere? Who knows? I will say that from what I know in the character in the comics, he sucks at his job. So, take that for what you will.
This one's hard to talk about because I know very little about Doctor Strange and all his comic books, but like this one just explored like infinite possibilities and multiple timelines and multiple I don't know. He changed all kinds of stuff around, so I don't even know how to like say what would happen after because I have no idea. Like it could be infinite or whatever. I don't remember how it ends if he gets what he needs or not.
There's and that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like every other episode. So this is one of them. Is one where so many things are just drastically different. Where it's that conversation is kind of hard to have. So like the second episode of What If, where T'Challa becomes Star-Lord, so many things have changed that it's like, well, where do you even start? Like it's hard to it's impossible to say what's different based on what we know from the movies and everything. But this episode is another one of those. Basically, his whole universe is crushed. It doesn't exist anymore. So there's really no point to continue that conversation. But I want to say how much I love this episode. I think this has been my favorite one.
Is this like how like Doctor Strange is one of the most powerful sorcerers in the world? Was this kind of like for a lot of like Doctor Strange comic book fans that you just show him absorbing like demons and entities and just all kinds of like some of the world's like greatest, I don't know, the universe's greatest like abilities and stuff.
He is a very powerful character in the comics. I don't think there's like any sort of influence for this episode from the comics. I could be wrong. I'm not I don't really read Doctor Strange comics. I do read a lot of crossovers that he's involved in. So I don't know. I feel like it was just one of those fun episodes to take apart. But I loved everything about it. I thought it was super cool. At the beginning where he goes back and he's trying to change Christine's death and him doing it over and over again. I'm like, I already know I'm gonna love this episode. And yeah, everything about it was super cool.
All right. Yeah.
What was your other question? I can't remember the other part to that. Also, your camera kind of went off again.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix it right now.
Okay. So your question was just about like how powerful Doctor Strange was.
Yeah, I was wondering if this is just like to show everybody how powerful he is.
Or I guess how powerful he can be.
Yeah, exactly.
Can
you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. I mean, yeah, you can still talk, but Um, I guess that's yeah. I guess so. Yeah, how powerful he can be. Um, but yeah, in terms of like what happens or what changes after this, I mean, there's kind of no point. Everything gets destroyed.
Yeah.
A lot of people are theorizing that this Doctor Strange is the one that's in Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't agree with those theories, but I think it's an interesting theory at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't think we're seeing the end of this character. I think this character is going to show up later.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my camera just loves falling all the time.
Well, we're gonna wrap it up on those two episodes here. Is there any final thoughts that you have on What If or anything in the MCU? Um, I kind of wanted to do a segment with you where it's just you just ask me um like random questions about Marvel and let's see if I can answer them
You want to do that right
based on the
now? Or
MCU. Yeah.
oh,
What what question do you have? What crazy question that you have that you've just been thinking about watching the MCU stuff?
because you play Mass. I can't get my computer, my camera to
Sorry, you're
go.
just sitting in the
Just
dark.
just because you play Avengers a lot and you're always coming up with like crazy teams. If you could take people from Fantastic Four, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm just gonna go with ones that like I know of. Anything from the MCU, anything from Fantastic Four or the Mutants. What if you could assemble your own first Avengers team to take out like when Loki's in invading army? What would be
Ooh.
your top six to fight Loki? And you like the original Avengers, like if you were Nick Fury and you had access to everybody, who would be your
We're talking so like anybody from the comics or any Marvel character, this is not necessarily sticking to the MCU timeline.
yeah, just like if you had access to like Wolverine, if you had access to Mr. Fantastic,
Against
um,
Loki's army.
yeah, against Loki's army. I mean, I know you pretty much if you could pick like some of the strongest people and annihilate him right away. Um, but yeah, I was just wondering what six would you pick, or if it's two, if you're gonna be too overpowered, then who would you pick to fight against Thanos if he had the Infinity Stones, if he had all
that's
six
that's
of them?
that's a different question.
Yeah, because
Uh,
Loki would be too powerful if you, or you could just overpower him with half the people, I guess, if you just had some. But
okay. So I feel like Scarlet Witch and Captain Marvel have to be in that team.
yeah,
Um,
I feel like they could just do it themselves.
I feel like there have been characters that have just like taken on Thanos by themselves before, and off the top of my head, I don't remember who those are. Um, I think Doctor Strange could be a part of that fight. Um, let's see, for mutants, there's a lot of mutants. I guess Jean Grey. Jean Grey, I would add to that.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess it doesn't really have to be a army against Loki. I guess who would you just pick as your? I guess like if you're fighting an army, what's like the top six most strongest people you know of?
okay, yeah. So, Cat Marvel, Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, Jean Grey, Sentry.
Yeah, I don't know Sentry. I know. I
Oh,
feel like I've
if
heard.
they ever introduce him into the movies, you're gonna be like, this guy's Superman, but fucked up. Um,
What about Adam Warlock? Would he be on your list?
maybe I'm not that familiar with Adam Warlock, but I guess from the sounds of it, yeah, because I think he was in the original Infinity War comics and
Yeah.
was a key person in stopping Thanos. So maybe.
Yeah, I did read the Infinity War thing. I think Adam Warlock and like Silver Surfer are kind of like the two who kind of like lead the charge. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
Silver Surfer is the one who gets blasted through Doctor Strange's um, sanctum and warns him about it.
Oh, okay.
in the comic book that I have anyways. If you ever want to read it, I have that one.
I will need to check that out at some point. Yeah, so I think that's where we're going to leave off for these episodes of What If for our podcast Hit Pause. And next time we're going to be talking about the next few episodes. There's going to be a lot of zombie talk, I imagine.
Yeah, I believe so. I guess we got the zombies, and I think if we do two, we have, is it Killmonger saves Iron Man? I think we have that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the most. I think that's the only 2 episodes after I'm recording this. Is the only other 2 episodes are the zombies and the Killmonger.
Yeah,
Those would be fun discussions.
Yeah, I think this Wednesday, I believe it's Party Thor.
I don't know what that means.
That's the only thing that I saw was that I believe it's about Party Thor. So you just
Okay.
it's like a not I guess a war Thor. It's just Party Thor. That's the one.
That's what that means.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the only thing that I saw about it. So, I wonder if I can find it. It was a really cool thing.
I've seen like some clips of like Thor and stuff in the trailers, so I don't know, but I don't know what Party Thor means.
Yeah, I think it's just if Thor didn't decide to fight and be a warrior. He was just like the lazy son that didn't want to like ascend.
Oh, okay.
He just wanted to be lazy, I guess. That's the only thing that I think I saw that that's probably the road they're gonna go with that.
I think there's 9 episodes total of What If. So look forward to that. I think there is going to be a second season as well. But after this series is over, there's still a lot more MCU stuff to come out. There's going to be movies. There's going to be Eternals. There's going to be the Hawkeye series. There's going to be Spider-Man. We're eventually all going to see Shang-Chi and talk about that. So there's a lot to talk about. So we're not going away. We're going to be doing more of these. If you want more discussions around gaming stuff, there's also our main podcast on our channel. You could check that out. If I end up releasing this as an audio podcast, I don't know. I don't really have plans for that. This has just been video so far. But if you want to see the video version where we have clips and graphics and stuff, you can head over to our YouTube channel. Just go to thespawntrap.com, and that's where all of our links are. But if you search Spawn Trap Podcast on YouTube, it also comes up there. Yeah. So we will see you in the next one. Is there anything else you want to say before we close it out?
No, I got nothing. I have nothing else right now. I'm just for the next few episodes of What If as well. I think like what I see on the cover of What If, I don't know this for sure, but it looks like there's a picture of Ultron on it, and it looks like he has Infinity Stones, like either on a gauntlet or in his head or something. So that looks like
I've seen that too, where it kind of looks like Vision is wearing an Ultron armor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I didn't look up anything about this. I didn't see anything about this. I just saw that image, and my theory is that it's a what if story on what if Ultron succeeded. He got Vision's body and became like the ultimate Ultron and just kicked everybody's ass.
Yeah, because the image I'm looking at here, you know what I thought? I thought it was just Ultron, but maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was him creating Vision because he's still got the red face.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Ultron's body, it looks like, and then he has 5 Infinity Stones. It looks like in his chest here, and then he's probably got one in his head still. Yeah, I can see it. So he's got
because he used the Mind Stone to create Vision's body.
Yeah, so it looks like he's got the 6 Infinity Stones. So I think that's gonna be probably the last one that they finish off.
Maybe. It's gonna be interesting how this show ends. That's for sure.
All I know is that I'm excited for Party Thor. So
Party Thor. We will talk about Party Thor soon. So if you have any questions for us or any theories or any points of discussion you want us to bring up on the podcast, leave them in the comments down below. You can also maybe mention us on our own social stuff. I'm at Till Plays online if you want to mention me there. Did you want to plug anything where people can get a hold of you?
Oh, mine's just always at twitch.tv/localtalent03. And I think it's the same for you can just, same username for Instagram as well.
Yep. So let us know. We might bring it up on a future podcast. But until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.
See you guys.